Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am your outspoken critic of Team Santa Rosa, Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for joining us.
Liberal tree hugger. Deborah,
You got something special in the mail.
I did. I got something special in the mail. This is mail-out piece that our friends over at Team Santa Rosa came up with. I wanted to read you a little piece of it here. We're strategically positioned to help get toilet paper to Tallahassee, lawnmowers to Lafayette, and basketballs to Biloxi. And I was just thinking, you know, to myself, because sometimes I think to myself that how appropriate it is that they're discussing toilet paper that they might produce, and that they're going to send it to Tallahassee, a place that needs plenty of toilet paper for the junk that goes on over there.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be, I would love it if we would produce it here. I don't think it's going to be produced here.
No, I don't think so. One other thing that we wanted to point out in this mail out, and I'm going to hold it up there as close as I can. You see the little map there, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's a picture of the $900,000 piece of property that you and I paid $3.2 million for. And Team Santa Rosa was also nice enough to go ahead and outline all the commercial property that Mr. Bill Pullum kept for himself.
That's all the industrial
as highway road frontage.
Yeah.
They were also, you see the interstate pictured right above, they were also nice enough to include the 268 acres that Mr. Pullum and Charlie Clary and McKelvey and a few other people own up to the north. So, you know, folks, Team Santa Rosa is here to promote Bill Pullum's property, and that's a good thing.
And a little piece of taxpayer property.
And a little,
and
sure.
you could look at it either way. You could say Bill Pullum kept all the frontage on the
all the valuable property,
$3.2 million piece we bought, or you could say the Santa Rosa County Commission allowed him to keep it. Depends on your perspective.
Exactly.
Either way, it was not included in the deed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Except there are two tiny pieces he deeded over to the county for the signs, the industrial.
Yeah, folks. They were nice enough to give I think it was 0.03 of an acre to put up the little signs. That Team Santa Rosa hired a design firm to design and then paid somebody from Escambia County to build them. Like we don't have a sign builder in Santa Rosa County. Not that we don't have a 9th grader that could lay out letters on a flat piece of board.
Yeah.
That was some sarcasm there, folks, if you didn't notice that. You know, look, my signs that go in the back of my truck that I just paint free-handed,
yes,
they're pretty effective.
I think they look
no new taxes, new commish now.
Yeah.
Every time I put something in the back of my truck, I win.
Quite a bit of marketing expertise.
Well, look, I'm just saying, give me 4x6, some yellow and black paint, I can be successful.
They're very eye-catching in the past.
In the
middle of highway.
Well, the next sign that's going up, and I did want to talk about this. Troy Moon, he writes stuff for the Pensacola News Journals. He wrote on his blog the other day. He was talking about Jesus in the median. And folks, in Escambia County, we have an ordinance now that says, see, it's disguised. Listen to me very carefully. It is disguised as a panhandle ordinance. We must eliminate panhandlers. And it says you can't be in the median asking people for anything.
Right.
Well, folks, you're looking at somebody who spent the better part of a few years in the middle of the road in the median in Santa Rosa County asking for something. I was either out there asking for your vote, I was either out there asking for you not to vote for sales tax, or I was out there asking you to give me a new commissioner. Okay? And so I sent an email to Troy Moon and I said, I like your premise. You know, kind of what would Jesus do? Would we allow Jesus to be in the median? And I told him, I said, you know, my 2012 resolution is there's going to be a sign in the back of my truck that says Bill Edens must go. And I'm going to come to Escambia County and I'm going to test your ordinance within the city of Pensacola. And he sent me an email back. He said, "Will you be sure to tell me where you're going to be because I want to watch you."
Well, they're going to let the Bible thumpers in the median as well then?
The bottom line, it's a free speech issue.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay? If you don't want panhandler, here you go. Let me help you on your panhandler issue. Work towards full employment. Work towards getting a good education for everybody. Work towards having a community that cares about what it looks like, i.e. Brownsville, where you have to send in 1,000 volunteers to clean the place up and you pull out 40 tons of junk off of 3 streets.
Yeah.
When you have a caring community with job opportunities, opportunities for all, I'm talking about from executives all the way down to laborer status, you won't have to worry about panhandlers. And truly, the ordinance that you passed is ridiculous. Here's the ordinance that you write. Here's the law that you make. If we catch you giving money to a panhandler that is on the highway, we're going to arrest you, the motorist.
Yeah,
that'll stop it immediately.
Yeah. Well, you're always going to have Remember in D.C. they had the problem where they'd come up with the sponge, and they, and then they'd get hostile if people didn't pay them. They wanted like $5 or $10.
Well, we have a problem, but it's curable. But we're over here violating our fundamental First Amendment rights to stop panhandling.
Yeah.
There are no conditions in the First Amendment except for one.
Right.
It says to peaceably assemble. If I choose to peaceably assemble in the middle of the road, which I own, if I choose to peaceably assemble on the sidewalk by Bill Eden's office with my flip sign saying Eden's must go, that's my right.
Yeah, I mean, as long as there's no physical contact, I don't see how they have a case.
That is correct.
I don't see how that's
That is correct.
The thing is, they force people to go to court. This is why they pass these. Somebody has to have the money and the standing to go to court now to challenge it.
Well, let's get back to economic development now, folks. And Deborah and I, we have kicked it around, and we have a novel idea.
Well, it seems like we don't have enough industrial parkland.
According to the executive director, Cindy Anderson of Team Santa Rosa, and Don Salter, we should always be in search of new industrial land. And folks, we've counted it up. We've spent some $21 million is the total take on Team Santa Rosa over the last 10 or so years. And Deborah and I, Santa Rosa Week TV, we've got a plan. Escambia County no longer wants to own the Civic Center. And they are they are willing to sell the Civic Center for $10 million.
Because they got a ballpark now.
The entire facility, the entire parking lot, everything surrounding it, the whole thing for $10 million. So here's what Deborah and I are thinking. I think Team Santa Rosa should get right on this. I think they should go find some dollars from somewhere, the state or federal government, and we should buy the Civic Center.
Sales tax.
And quit having any activities there.
They'll give us a good deal because they're right next to it.
We're just gonna go in there out on the floor in the Civic Center, and we can put some yellow lines in there, and we can allow people to set up shop inside. It's got a nice roof on it.
Like a flea mall.
Yeah, like a gigantic flea mall. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or a business incubator.
We can let the vendors outside cooking the food.
Sure.
Got plenty of parking.
Sure.
The nice up ramps on the sides of the Civic Center. That's where the music groups can be, so that everybody will have to pass by them. I think it's a win-win.
There seems like no way you could screw that up. Get your resume ready.
I mean, that's as crazy of an idea as I see on a weekly basis coming out of Team Santa Rosa. So
maybe we could get the same appraiser who appraised Bill Pullum's $900,000 property.
There you go.
$3.2 million. Maybe we could get them to appraise the Civic Center.
Well, we want him to go the other way though.
Yeah.
The Pensacola, they won't.
No, we like to pay more.
Oh, you want to pay more?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, 10's not enough.
We historically prefer to pay more.
Oh, okay. I got you. We should go ahead and pay 15. Well, let me start
more special
over.
that way.
On your motion at Team Santa Rosa, go ahead and even though they've only asked for 10, go ahead and offer them 15.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we'd never want to offer them 5 and hope they take it.
Exactly.
You offer them 15 when they only want 10.
Right.
You know they'll jump at it.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Look, that's why Deborah is on this TV show with me, because I don't. You know, I've said this before, but I barely graduated Milton High School. I mean, it was just by the skin of my teeth.
I passed calculus.
And I don't understand high finances the way that you do. And now that I've had a moment to reflect, I think you're right.
You see the error of
if they only wanted 10 and we jump in and offer them 15, they'll expedite the paperwork.
It'll seem like it's worth more to us if we pay more. It's like when you buy a designer handbag that's $15,000. It just seems like it's more special than the $50 version.
Seems more. Yeah. I got you. Well, folks, I apologize. Sometimes I show my ignorance here on Santa Rosa Week TV, but I'm good now. I got it.
We're high maintenance in Santa Rosa.
Always offer more because they're sure to accept it.
Yeah, because we like to spend money.
Oh, me. Now, speaking of stupidity, folks, this one right here takes the cake.
Your legislature at work.
Here's your legislature at work. Now, Barbara Peterson is a personal friend of ours. She's the head of the First Amendment Foundation. She has been actively working in Tallahassee, I think it's some 17 years or so.
To support open government.
To support open government. Yeah. And when I called her about this bill, she said, and I quote, "I know this may be hard for you to believe, Jerry, but I believe this is the worst bill that I have ever seen in my life." And I'm gonna, of course, as our legislature, they always try to bury you with a lot of paper, but you know, I'll have to compliment them. They just went ahead and put it all in the first paragraph to let us know how they intended on screwing the taxpayers.
Yeah, shamelessly in the first paragraph.
Yeah.
Well, what it would do is it would allow them to arbitrarily just privatize all the prisons in the south end of the state, and also there's 2 bills. The other bill would allow them to just privatize agencies out of hand. Right.
So I'm going to read it very quickly, and then I'm going to point out the giant holes in it for you. An act relating to the outsourcing or privatization of agency functions, providing that certain information relating to the outsourcing or privatization of an agency function that is expressly required by law is not required to be included in the agency's legislative budget request until after the contract for such functions is executed, providing that procurements for outsourcing or the privatization agency functions that are expressly required by law are exempt from the requirement that they be evaluated for feasibility, cost effectiveness, or efficiency. Okay, now let's get our arms around that. Currently, folks, they have to have a good reason to want to privatize something. They have to state up front and show the documentation involved in it, and it has an economic test to it, where you have to show that it saves money and it's cost effective or it will help your efficiency. This stupid, retarded, ignorant bill says that they can do whatever they want to, and it doesn't matter if it's cost effective or efficient. That's unimportant, because we, the big shots in the Senate, and we, the big shots in the House, who do anything we want to with impunity, we don't care what you think. So you don't have to follow any law.
This was the Senate Rules Committee who drafted this, of whom Senator Don Gates is a member.
Senator Don Gates, Senator Thrasher, many of you, we've laughed about Senator Thrasher here, the fella who wrote the $175,000 book that for a college that there's only one copy ever been printed of it. You know, it is a joke. Now.
Well, the hilarious irony is they've been using government is so inefficient and spend so much money on all these functions as the excuse to privatize. So now they're saying, well,
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
That's not the point after all.
Let me help you out, Senator Gates and Senator Thrasher. I don't have the complete list in front of me, but all of you duly elected senators sitting up there, you know, that don't want to listen to the people. And folks, let me tell you what happened here, because at least, although the Senate and the House does not have to follow the Sunshine Law, they at least have to file bills so we, the people, get to see them ahead of time. They filed this bill, and within 3 days, so many people had raised 9 kinds of Hades about it that they decided that they don't really want to discuss it in public right now.
Yes.
Now, I'm not telling you that they won't try it again, okay? But back to my message. Let me help my Senate colleagues out just for a moment. You built the GO prison in Santa Rosa County, Florida. You did it when it was not necessary. You did it when the Department of Corrections did not even know about it. You did it in the middle of the night without their knowledge or request. You took a private for-profit company that has handed virtually every last one of you campaign contributions. For the record, I have a list of about 12 years worth of campaign contributions that has been made by the GO Corporation to duly elected officials in the state of Florida. You also allowed Donna Arduin, a former GO Wackenhut employee, to be in charge of budget negotiations when all this foolishness about private prisons started. The Senate President and the Speaker of the House each had a former GO or Wackenhut employee as budget director or chief person in your offices. The governor on his staff has a former GO employee that is pushing privatization. I'd also like to point out to you that the FBI has handed out about 4 subpoenas so far regarding privatization. You've had a judge in the state of Florida that not only told you you were violating the state constitution, when you tried it again, she snatched your rear ends back in the courtroom and said, you better stop right now. So what you're trying to do now is circumvent it by going through the Rules Committee. The whole bunch of you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You have shown no cost effectiveness. You have shown no efficiencies.
They don't want to have to show that.
Let the record show that the prison population is going down in the state of Florida. The Department of Corrections, for goodness sakes, just announced that due to the lack of need, they don't need the beds, they're shutting down 4 prisons and 3 work camps because they don't have the prison population to be in.
And this is the terrible moral hazard with privatization. It encourages the payoffs and the buyouts where these judges throw people in jail for nothing.
And we've talked about that already, folks. Pennsylvania, every juvenile that went through 2 judges' courtrooms all wound up getting sent to the same quote-unquote for-profit private detention center, and when they finished investigating it, those 2 judges had, between them, had received $2.6 million in direct kickbacks from the private corporation. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you my moral argument also. It is incomprehensible to me to consider the imprisonment of human beings for profit. All right? That is so far over the line. It is fraught with danger. All right? Here's argument number 3. And I asked this question before that private prison was built to the head man of GEO. What happens when the front door gets left open and there is a riot or an escape? And the answer was, we would call your sheriff's department to take care of that. Okay? So GEO gets their pick of the prisoners. They get the easiest to deal with. They have limitations. They're only required to spend X dollars medically. At a certain point, they get to transfer them back to the state. They have no responsibility outside of the fence. If anybody climbs over it, it's just the poor folks in East Milton are on their own.
Well, the taxpayers pick up the pick up the bill on it.
Of course, I imagine most of the folks in East Milton are well armed. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not worried about that. I think they'll defend themselves correctly.
Yeah, they're looking at getting some of the worst in there.
But it's just unbelievable. Okay. This trial balloon that the Senate has floated out here, you can take it and wad it up and throw it away. Now, to all of you on the Rules Committee, I also want you to understand, we the people pay attention.
Some of us do.
We the people are reading your bills now. If you were checking the pulse of the people, how did it feel? Because I know it got rammed back down your throat pretty quick. Don't try this stuff. Why don't you worry about having an education system in the state of Florida that we can compete with the world? How about doing something besides economic development where our children serve bourbon and cokes to drunk tourists from Nebraska? All right? Let's work on reducing workman's comp so that we can compete with Alabama and Georgia on economic development. No, here's what you want to do. You want to pass a law to help your buddies that gave you campaign contributions. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you know, look, folks, we the people, pay attention. Watch our show. Go to our webpage, SantaRosaSpeaks.com. Pay attention. This stuff's important. This is just one more example where the Senate and the House both are trying to trample our rights. Let's talk about speech.
Free speech,
free speech. As you know, Deborah and I have been deeply involved in this issue. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons why this TV show was started was our rights being trampled. And we very carefully followed all this. And I was taken back. Mr. Snyder from the Pensacola News Journal, he kicked around a piece, and we discussed Father Nathan Monk on here, and a lot of people said this was a violation of his First Amendment rights, which I say it is, and a lot of people other.
Yeah, because they had said you have 3 minutes. He didn't do anything that he would have had been dragged out for, and they tried to cut his 3 minutes down.
Mr. Snyder, he took a different approach. Now I'll be fair to Mr. Snyder. We arm wrestle back and forth. I think we have a good rapport. But the tack that he took was that meeting was wrong. Sam Hall was out of line, but there were no First Amendment rights violated. And I sent him an email. And I said, look. My belief is that the newspaper should, or any newspaper, or all media should always be pushing for a higher level of free speech, a higher level of participation. And what occurred at the Pensacola City Council, it was absolutely a violation of First Amendment rights.
Well, I think it's testament to how, I want to say this, how removed the media in general, and especially that particular publication, are from real news reporting. I mean, my God, if you run a newspaper, you want it to be as open as possible. You want to hear, as many people up there as possible, because it's a free, easy way to get comments. Right. They're just so removed from real reporting, they have no grasp. I
understand that within reason, under current law, and although, and I'm very excited, we're not going to talk about it today, but I am very excited. It appears there is going to be a change in the Sunshine Law that is going to guarantee our right to speak at government meetings. But, you know, I understand some conditions in there. But at the meeting that Father Nathan Monk was at, it was the Boyd Forum, where each person is given 5 minutes before a city council meeting begins, and they can talk about the moon, Jupiter, the planets, the stars, how sorry their football team is doing, how well their football team is doing, how they hate the Maritime Park, whatever they want to talk about. That is the purpose of the Boyd Forum. Father Nathan,
because the government is composed of we the people,
that's
which
right.
are those speakers.
Father Nathan Monk was not out of line. He was very polite. And, you know, I just have to say that I disagree with Mr. Snyder. I know Mr. Snyder and the Pensacola News-Journal have taken some shots that have assisted the people, but I was just a little taken back.
Very tentative shots.
I would like the newspaper to stand on it tall. With that said, yours truly, Jerry Cooey of Santa Rosa Week TV, because of all this uproar in Escambia County at the Pensacola City Council, I've been asked to be on a team myself, Etta Lawler, Jim Young, and I hope we get a couple more people on the committee. But we're going to look at how we handle public meetings in Santa Rosa County. And as always, and I really mean this, SR Editor, it'll be on the screen for you. I'm asking for your help. You know, I'd like to hear what you think, because I feel like in the role that has been given to me, I'm supposed to represent the greatest number of people. So we at Santa Rosa Week TV, please send me your thoughts or your comments and let us know. And it will be done in companion with the bill that we hope will be added to the Sunshine Law, which guarantees speak. So
I'm looking forward to seeing your reaction when something gets passed that you don't like, because the language gets changed by the county attorney at the last minute before the hearing.
I think we will address that.
Yes, we will.
Yes, we will. So I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for watching.